fine president. Now, stand to your feet and give a warm welcome to the impersonator of the President of the United States of America.
How's everyone doing? I got one question for you. Does anybody here miss George W. Bush?
Well, I miss him too. Now, it's great to be back here in my hometown. I want to let you in on a little secret. I, George W. Bush, am returning for re-election. And when I return, I'd like to solve a few problemos. That's right. I speak a little Espanolish. Been taking that Rosetta Stone. Now, when I return for president, don't worry about the economy. Don't worry about it. Worry about the economy. That's my job. And I'm not worried about it. Now, when I was president, a lot of folks asked me, they'd say, George, what's it like to be president? I like it. I like a lot. Mucho laco. I think this is it's an appropriate time to address the media. You know, the media, they really tick me off. They take things that I say, they pull them out of context, make them sound different. So that's just why I go ahead and say them out of context and save them trouble. Now, I love America because it's full of Americans. And let me tell you something, I care about my senior citizens. Did you know that older citizens face the highest risk of death in this nation? Now, I don't want to step on anybody's beliefs here, but here I go. I don't know much about Obamacare, except that Obama doesn't care. I mean, how is it after 6 years we have not been able to locate Obama's real birth certificate? How does Obama not remember where he was born? I know why he can't remember. He's got Indonesia. I think it's time for America, you know, to rebuild our roads. You know, let's rebuild our bridges. You know, so the people of America have something to live on. Oh, that was dirty. Now, this whole room is filled with successful people, including you guys. And everyone in here has proved someone else wrong. For example, we got Patty Farmer. No one thought she'd be a networking genius. She proved them wrong. We also have Tanya Hoffman. No one thought she'd be able to speak on stages like she has. She proved them wrong. Everyone in here has proved them wrong. Which reminds me, when I was a kid, a lot of folks told me, they'd say, George, you'd make a great president one day. I proved them wrong. Thank you very much, and God bless you all. God bless America.
All right, I'm going to impersonate myself now. Now, my name is Justin Renner. I understand this whole organization is about networking, everything like that. And you may be asking yourself one or two questions right now. You may be thinking in your mind, one of two. A,
Why is he still up there?
or B,
What can some 18-year-old teenager do for me?
that's a good question. What can some 18-year-old kid do for you?
We're about to find out.
So here's the thing. I'm just going to get right into it. Raise your hand if you are a parent. That's good. Now raise your hand if you have kids. Good, we're getting even numbers. Here's the thing. Think about the relationship you have with your kids or children. Ask yourself in your mind, how much stronger can it get? Because the tool that you're about to receive in the story I'm about to tell you, it could make the difference, honestly. It could make the difference between your children shying away from big opportunities or having the courage to embrace those opportunities and end up changing their life. And that's what you want to see as a parent. So here we go. This old George Bush thing that you just saw, thank you for laughing, I appreciate it. It all started at home. I was watching George Bush on YouTube and I just having fun with it. That guy's good looking. I was just having fun. It was no big deal. One day my mom comes home, right over here, and she tells me about this talent competition being held in Orlando, Florida. And my sister hops right on board, and she's like,
I want to be a singer.
So they were having auditions in Austin, Texas. She went on and wanted to be a singer, so I decided I'll go support her. I'm the older brother, that's what I should do, right thing to do, morally, I did it. So we're in the car. My mom has a different idea. She looks at me and she goes,
Justin, we need to talk.
I was like, well, why do we need to talk? What's going on here? And she's like, I really want you to audition and do your George Bush thing. I was like, no, keep on driving, it's not me. It's not going to happen. And she looks at me again and goes, no, for real, you don't know how good you are. You could go far. So after a little bit of her kind of encouraging me, I looked at her finally and just said, all right, fine, I'll do it. So I get to the audition, I'm feeling good, feeling all right. I walk through these double doors. And all there is this Hollywood talent agent sitting behind the desk, bored out of his mind. And I get up on the stage, and I have my hat with me. And he looks at me and goes, so. What are you going to do for me? I got off guard, right? So I looked at him and said, do you know who George Bush is? Do I? Just show me what you got, okay? So I put on my hat. I couldn't think of anything. So I said,
So, do you miss me yet?
what was that? That was awful. I was like, my mom thinks I'm great. I said, how about this? Send me the competition. I'll get better and I won't disappoint you. He goes, how about this? I'll send you the competition, but don't do that awful George Bush thing. So I said, fine. I won't do the awful George Bush thing. You know what I did? The awful George Bush thing. Thank you. I get home, and I'm not feeling so good. And I told my parents, I'm like, oh, Dad, like, they told me I was awful. Like, why'd you even make me do that? And they looked at me and said, you know what? Forget it. Keep on practicing. You'll prove him wrong. And so I did. I was practicing it every single day, watching George Bush, mimicking his actions, doing it at home. I was practicing it in school. I even practiced at the pizza shop where I worked at. Have you ever ordered pizza from George Bush? like, you know, people would call and they'd be like, oh yeah, can I get one of them cheese pizzas?
And I'd be like, oh, so what you're saying is a pepperoni pizza with no pepperonis.
And it gets so bad to where I get like a tap on my shoulder from my boss, and they'd be like, all right, you know what? We can't have people thinking that George Bush works at a pizza shop. So I said, all right, fine, I won't do George Bush. What if I did a little Bill Clinton? Will that satisfy your needs? All your needs. So anyway, it didn't matter to me. I continued practicing. My parents were there to support me. They were encouraging me every day. I began getting encouragement from my grandparents, friends. So I was on this like mega pump, and we go to Orlando, Florida for one of the biggest talent competitions in the nation. Now imagine you're backstage the night of the final competition. It's your turn to go. And there's 1,800 people on the other side of the curtain. You never performed in front of a live audience before. That's exactly where I was about 2 years ago. Now, normally, I should feel the emotions, scared, fearful, but honestly, I didn't. The reason why? Because I had my parents, their encouragement, all behind me. And I felt the most courage I've ever felt. And I walked up on that stage. So that day, I learned that encouragement leads to courage. And I went up on that stage and did the same George Bush that you just saw. And it went good. Now the crowd was laughing and cheering, and by the end of it, I was actually blessed with the first place trophy at the competition, which is great. And since then, it's honestly changed my life. I've been able to tell my story across the whole nation, Toronto, Nashville, San Diego. It's made a huge difference. And none of that would have happened without the encouragement of my parents. So I'm standing on stage with that first place trophy in hand. I got my hat with me, and I began walking off the stage, feeling good, knowing my life had already taken a turn for the good. And I'm just going into the front row, and I see that same Hollywood talent agent that dissed me at the first audition. And so I couldn't help myself. I walked right up to him and said, "So, do you miss me yet?" Thank you. So it's important to realize that absolutely none of this would have happened without the encouragement of my parents, who saw something in me that I couldn't see for myself. So that's what I'm urging you to do today. Think about your kids, the gifts and talents that you see them have. They might not recognize it for themselves, but if you encourage them, you can bring it out of them, and you never know where it can take them. Now, raise your hand if you have kids that are in high school. Oh man. If you haven't been to high school, I highly recommend it. I'm sure you remember when you were in high school, right? The motto was like what? Sex, drugs, rock and roll? Is that correct? Yeah. Some of you are like, yeah, dude, I remember. Yeah, so now it's like sex, drugs, rock and roll on steroids. And it's honestly starting to take a serious toll on our kids, especially our teenagers. Believe me, I work with them, I talk to them. I find that a lot of kids are living in what I like to call quiet desperation. Where on the outside, seems like they're happy, good, no problem. But on the inside, they're suffering. And you would never honestly know until you truly get involved in their life. Now, let me give you, here's the thing, that's my mission. It's for parents to strengthen the relationship with their children, because what happens is, while the parents are at work, they're dealing with their problems and their stress. We have a lot of realtors in here. You're driving clients around all day long, stress long, and then they just look at you and go, "All right, thanks for the ride," and it doesn't. So you're dealing with that stress. And then we have the kids at school. They're dealing with bullying, peer pressure, teachers, and all the homework and grades, and it's stressful. The home is supposed to be a place of reconnection, recharging, regrouping, communication. What usually happens, what tends to happen, is a kid comes home, tough day, long day, wants to go into his room, play video games, do his homework, go to bed. Parent comes home, tired, exhausted, pay the bills, just wants to read his email, eat, and go to sleep. Starts all over again the next day. So that's what my mission is, to be more aware and be able to get more involved in your kids' lives, find opportunities to take, no matter what age. Would you like 4 quick action steps that you can take today from a teenager's perspective to start strengthening the relationship with your kids? Would that be cool? Yeah. Great show. All right. So, number 1, you can write it down if you like. It's easy to remember. Share at least 1 meal a day with the family, just with your kids. It may not be every day, but just trying to get a meal. If you have teenagers, listen. If you have teenagers, they already have 6 meals a day. You can at least catch them on one of them. And here's preferably dinner time, because they've had a long day, you've had a long day, you'll be able to communicate, talk about your problems, help them work through it, they go to sleep on a good, peaceful note, wake up the next day, learning again. Number 2, doing what they love to do. Not always easy, but worth it. Like, for example, if your kid is really into football, start finding out his favorite NFL team, researching it, his favorite player, looking at the stats. You'll impress him. Look for ways to impress your kid and get involved in their world. The reason why is that when you're involved in their world, they'll open up to you on a whole different level, as opposed to you trying to pull them up to your world. And you'll be able to help them with problems and concerns and get them raised up the way you want them to when you're in their world. Number 3, texting. Now, communicate the way they communicate. You may honestly hate how, oh my God, my kid never talks to me, he always texts. Well, text him. It's actually a way of communication, obviously. And here's the thing. You can connect with your kids without being in the room. It's very, very powerful. For example, they could be having a long day, tough day at school or at work, no matter what age. And they can pull out their phone, and they see a text message from one of their parents. Encouraging word, just telling them they love them, and it makes, honestly, a huge difference in their demeanor. It changes their paradigm. Believe me, I get text messages like this every, once in a while from my mom. I'll be having a tough day at school, and I'll pull out my phone, and I'll see a text message from Mom. Prepare to be encouraged. And I'll look at it, and it'll say something like, Justin, you're doing a great job. I'm really proud of you. Just keep doing what you're doing. I love you. I'm like, wow, that makes a good difference. And I scroll up a little bit and it says, by the way, I forgot to take out the trash. I'm still working on it. Now, number 4, handwritten letters. Spoken in Toronto and Nashville. And out of all of these, handwritten letters are the most powerful and the most underrated. The reason why is because words can be forgotten. You can compliment someone and they'll say thanks and then they won't remember it. But when you write down a letter to your kids especially, it's honestly like a concentrated form of your love and your feelings, and they can always go back to it and open it up, whether you're there or not. And it's very inspiring. They can feel your presence right there in the room. And the greatest part is when they write you back. It starts communication. It's huge. It can make a big deal. It can lead to a very good relationship. So there's 4 quick action steps you can take today. And what I'm going to leave you with here is you want to do the best for your kids. And believe it or not, they want to do the best for you. Because we're the next generation, whether you like it or not, we're taking over the world. And so we're taking over the world, and every day we're surrounded by voices, messages. Come on, you understand, TV, music, social media, rumors, gossip. Really toying with us, messing with our minds. I mean, we go to school and they'll be like, this is what you need to do to become popular, this is what you need to do to become a good student, this is what you gotta dress like, this is what you gotta act, this is what you gotta wear. All these voices trying to tell us what to do. So my question is, take some time, reflect right now. Where is your voice in all of this? Because the voice that's heard loudest in your kid's heart is the one they're going to follow. So which voice do you want them to listen to? Yours or the world's? So I'm going to leave you with this. Begin finding creative ways to get involved in your kids' world. Encourage them when their gifts and talents are, because like I said, you never know where it can take them. And the world will be a better place. Well, at least your world will be a better place. It's good enough. This is Justin, the George Bush impersonator, saying it's been a pleasure speaking to you. Thank you, Austin, Texas.